you know what time it is. It is time for me to share with you my question that I posted on Teachers Connect and some posts that I responded to. So this week, my question on Teachers Connect was whether or not you guys correct homework with your kids. Now, when I say correct, I mean
Good morning, here's my outfit today. Today I am wearing this polka dotted top that was part of one of my hauls over the summer. This is from TJ Maxx. I'm wearing these black pants from Ann Taylor Loft. I think I showed you guys some gray ones a while ago, and then I liked them so much I got some in black. And then I found another pair of these sandals just yesterday at Target. These are the A New Day brand. They are a little higher than the red ones, but I like the style of them, so I bought another pair. Then I am wearing a silver watch that is just a fossil watch, and these are my accessories from Goriana. So I will see you guys a little bit later. Okay, it is about 10:30. I'm on recess. The kids actually got to go outside today. But it's walk and talk. The air quality is not the best, so they can go outside, but they can't play. So today is my first full morning where it's like full blown, like this is school. These are the routines and procedures. So I introduced morning work to them this morning, which typically for me is grammar from Wonders that I use. And then we started talking about math rotations. So my big goal or my big journey this year that you guys are gonna get to hold me accountable to, and I will document for you, is implementing more small groups for math. So I found a product on Teachers Pay Teachers that I've referenced a couple times from Core Inspiration or Lauren Santos. And she acknowledges, because I've read several of her blog posts and some of the questions people have asked her in comments, that this was not developed by her. She's just kind of tweaked it to her own style and look and all of that. So I'm not sure where it originated, because I've seen it on her site and I've seen a couple of other teachers reference it as well. But we started that today, so I introduced them to a product that she's created, which I think she actually created. Like, this is her thing. Call it number of the day, and I'm doing it one at a time. So I'm realizing that I'm gonna need to buy some binders because these pages are the same, the number just changes. So you take a number, a random number. Today our number was 397, and they are just modeling it and representing it in different ways. And I believe there's 6 pages total, so this is the first one. I will put it down. It's the recess bell already. So it was 397, so for today, they modeled by coloring in 3 100 blocks. You know what? That is not the recess bell. We actually have 5 more minutes. I'm gonna go double check with Jenny, because that was last year's recess bell. And then we'll get back to math. Hold on a second. That's not our bell, right? That's last year. So don't go out there, because remember Michelle said the bells are off, so we still have like 5 minutes.
I just was going, what?
Yeah.
I just sat down and I feel like I'm not even getting a break, you know?
I know, because I thought walk and talk, I was just gonna walk them out to the playground, but okay. So you have 5 minutes. All right. Okay, so our number was 397. I just confirmed with Jenny that's the wrong bell. We need to adjust the bell some. So they modeled it today with base 10 blocks. So they just colored in 300 blocks, 9 10 blocks, and then 7 1 blocks. So then they represent it by saying it's 300s, 9 10s, 7 1s, and it's 397 in all. This question was tricky, because it said if you were to swap all the 100 blocks for 10s, how many 10s would you need? So they needed to know, I no longer have hundreds, but now I need 30 10s. And then by the time we talked this one through and they understood they were better with this one, if you were to swap out all the 10s rods for 1s, how many 1s would you need? So now I would need 0 10s and I would need 90 1s. So we did that. I thought it went pretty well, and I told them eventually they'll be doing it on their own. Then we just introduced the lesson today, which is lesson 1.2, rounding to the nearest 10 and 100. My warm-up, because in this math rotation, there's like a warm-up and a mini lesson. So the number of the day would be the warm-up. The mini lesson for me is going to be me playing the Math on the Spot video that is hosted by Dr. Berger through Think Central, so I showed them that. And then I'm using the 2 intro pages as like my teaching point from Go Math. So today we're going to practice one of the rotations, which is at your seat. So they are going to just be working at their seat. The lighting has changed, I don't know why. So that's what we're in the middle of doing. So they're at recess right now. We're going to come back. I'm going to read Mean Jean, the Recess Queen, which is a classic because they did not go outside for recess at all last week because of the heat. This week they'll be out for walk and talk, so this is the perfect time for me to read this to talk about proper behavior on the playground. So I'm going to read them that, and then we will finish math and move on to wonders. So that is Monday so far, the first full day of teaching. So far it's going well. I think the kids are a little like shocked, like, oh my gosh, we're actually having to learn. But all in all, it's good. So I'll check in with you guys later on today. Good afternoon, it's 1:30. I just finished dismissing the kids at 1:15, walked them out to the pickup location, and then I came back in, posted the homework on the website for the day, sent a message through Class Dojo because I still can't use Remind right now, and that's pretty much it. I have a grade level meeting at 1:45, so every Monday as the grade level chair, I've asked that my team be willing to meet at 1:45 for no more than an hour. And I may have mentioned this in a previous vlog. Sometimes it will take the whole hour, sometimes it won't, but I promise not to go over an hour, and we're just kind of looking at things, seeing how we're feeling, especially with Wonders, since this is like, it's time to get in full swing. So that will be happening in about 15 minutes. All in all, the day ended well. We got through pretty much everything. The only thing I did not get to is I was supposed to introduce the vocabulary skill for this week of Wonders, which is context clues, but I didn't because math took a little bit longer. Place value for kids, place value and really rounding is what it is. It's just challenging for them. And I was talking to Peggy and Jenny at lunch, who haven't taught this lesson because they both came from different grade levels. Jenny was teaching 2nd last year, Peggy was teaching 4th, and it's always just so like startling when you think this concept of rounding numbers up or down is relatively easy, but for kids it's just not. So what I was suggesting to them, which I will have to do with my class, is kids that struggle with rounding and knowing when to round up or down, I have found that those kids that are having the hardest time end up doing a lot better when they use the number line strategy, because it gives them a visual to see what a number is closest to, whether you're rounding to the nearest 10 or to the nearest 100. If they use the place value rules and the whole 5 or higher round up or less than 5 round down, for a lot of kids that's just too much for them to remember. First and foremost, you have to rely on the fact that they're going to identify the right digit to be rounded, that they're going to know their right from their left because they have to look to the right, and that once they figured that out, they're going to remember if it's 5 or higher round up, if it's less than 5 round down. So I had a few kids that struggled, and so what's going to happen tomorrow is I will probably rely on the number line for that, for those kids, because last year I felt like once they got in the hang of making number lines and understood how to make their number lines, they were a lot more successful with rounding. So math took longer. So the only thing that I didn't get to is the vocabulary skill. I wanted to do like a little bit of writing, but I knew that that was a long shot. So the fact that I didn't get to that is not a big deal. So first day of like true nitty-gritty teaching, and you know, some of the kids were a little shell-shocked. Last week was a lot of, you know, get to know you, some assessment, but this was the first day like where they got to see my expectations as a teacher as I'm up there teaching what I expect for them to be doing while that is occurring. So it's a work in progress. 7. I've been home for a little over an hour. I was talking to my family just now, and then I just realized I'm supposed to show you guys Genesis because she was missed last week. So I'm taking her on a walk. It's the first walk I've taken her on in a long time because of the heat and then the weather condition. But she really wanted to walk today. She ran out the door when I was just taking her to use the bathroom as if we were going on a walk. So I had to take her. Quick update. She is now going to be taking medication on a permanent basis to try and keep her sneezing under control. There was like a day or two last week where she was just incessantly, and I mean incessantly, sneezing. So she's going to take, I forget what it's called, but it's like a little pill 2 times a day, every 12 hours to hopefully help her out. And she was sneezing so much to the point where when I would wipe her nose, there was like little faint traces of blood, and that made me nervous. So we're on a walk. I'm going to show her to you, and then that will be the end of my check-in with you guys for this Monday. It's not Tuesday, for Monday. Jenny, wait. Come here. Wait. Say hi to your friends. Hold on. Let's see if she stays. Wait. Say hi, everybody. Pooter. Jenny. Say hi. Genesis. Okay.
Good morning. Here's today's outfit. I am wearing this dress from Old Navy. This was one of the dresses I showed you guys in my haul over summer. I'm wearing these shoes that I was unsure about, the quote-unquote granny shoes, but I think I like it with this dress. And then I am wearing a black Marc Jacobs watch that I've had for a long time, and just this black ring. So pretty simple. That's it. I'll talk to you guys later.
Guys, it's 2:50. The kids have been dismissed literally moments ago, and today, you know what? It wasn't the kids. Let me preface it with that. Like, the kids are great. They're sweet. They're everything a teacher would want. My struggle right now, let me sit down, is just the timing of things. Like the things that I'm trying to change, specifically with math, I haven't quite found the timing of how I want things to happen. So I have 2 students that get RSP services, and it's push-in, meaning that the aide comes into class as opposed to them going up. And she's only here for 30 minutes. So switch for me, number 1, is typically or normally up until this year, because of the RSP schedule, I teach math in the mornings. I've just done that for years, and you know, it's just what I'm used to. So that changed. Now I'm teaching it after recess, starting at around 11-ish, which is when the RSP teacher comes in. But with the changes that I'm trying to implement with small groups in math and following the format of like a warm-up, a little mini lesson, and then like starting to run groups, there's just the pressure of trying to get what I want to get in while the RSP aide is here is a lot. So then there was that today. I really felt like I was teaching like at a rapid rate. Luckily, when I asked the RSP teacher how she felt with the kids back here while I was teaching, whether or not it was enough or it was a good mix for those kids, she said she thought it went really great. The kids were getting it, but I felt rushed. So then there's that. Plus, we are just in the throes of rounding. And just, I don't know, rounding, there's a lot going on for kids. And even like your higher functioning kids just find it to be a difficult concept. So I did show them and use these anchor charts today. If I were to do it all again, I would probably only make the anchor chart for the number line, because I just really think the number line just makes it a little bit more clear for them, and it's a little less overwhelming for them to tackle. So my math block went way longer than I intended it to, which is fine, because I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen, since I'm trying to find my way with these math rotations and the change in my schedule and just being held to a certain time frame that I want to get things done with the aide. But I am exhausted. And in addition to all that, training these kids to know that when I'm at this back table right here, that I'm just not available to them. I can't ask questions or answer questions. I can't do those kinds of things because my attention is to them back there. This was the first time I went to the back table and pulled kids for the year, and it's that whole early part of the year where some kids, they just want to go back there just to be that much closer to you. They don't really need help, but they just want to be back there. And I had a huge amount of kids that just wanted to go to the back table, but from what I had seen in terms of what we did whole group and what they did with their homework, they did not need to be at that back table. So just the heartbreaking part of telling them, I'm not going to call you to the back table because I know that you don't need it. And then there was one boy that was just insistent that he goes back there. So I had his table mates help him, but then he was being argumentative with his table mates. So I pulled him back, told him to do one problem. He got it right. Told him to do another problem where he had to round to the nearest 100. He got it right. So I told him, you know how to do it. So I'm exhausted. My room is a mess. Here's my desk. There's that down there. This is all over the place. I didn't even get them to collect their papers today because we just ran short on time. So it was really weird because I came in this morning just feeling calm, prepared, and ready. And to a certain extent I was, but the day still didn't quite go the way that I would have liked it to go. So I'm gonna clean up. I think Jenny and Peggy are gonna come over and I'm gonna show them how to add assessments on ConnectEd. And then I'm gonna get myself ready for tomorrow and go from there. I might work out after work. I didn't make it this morning because I went to bed late. And the trainer, one of my favorite trainers at Orange Theory, you know, called me and Liza out because we weren't there this morning. So she just asked us where we were. So I might go this afternoon if I leave in time. But then again, I might not. I just don't know. So anyway, that was my day so far. I'll try and check in with you guys a little bit later. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Hey, I'm home. It's about to get dark because I'm going up the stairs. After I checked in with you, I just spent a lot of time cleaning up my room, getting things straightened, getting the room ready for tomorrow, which it is. I left maybe around 5:15, so not too bad, seeing as how my unofficial goal is to leave by 5. And now I'm getting ready to get dressed because I'm actually going to go to Orange Theory, which I'm sad about because I do not like exercising during this time of day because I don't like exercising with makeup on my face. And the last time I went during, this time of day, I just felt exceptionally fat while exercising. But I need to go because my goal is to go 5 days a week. And if I don't go today, I think I'll be down to going 3 days a week just based on what I know my schedule's gonna be. Sorry, I'm in the closet. So, I need to change clothes, get dressed, and then I just found out Blaze Pizza's having another teacher special, so I'm gonna have that for dinner, which is good because I came home to cook my Blue Apron meal, and I just don't feel good about the meat. It just didn't look right. So I'm gonna go to Orange Theory. I may or may not check in with you guys later. I'm gonna definitely show you that little, do you guys see her, Jenny? Genesis? Show you that little lady down there because she needs to make an appearance apparently. But yeah, I honestly, you guys, I just still don't feel like, I know it's only the second week of school, but I still don't feel like I'm like in the rhythm that I want to be in. And I think I need to be patient with myself because I am trying to implement a couple of new things simultaneously with the math groups, and then, you know, restructuring the order that we're teaching these math lessons in. And I'm trying, like, there's a part of me that's like, maybe I don't want to, you know, rearrange the chapters based on Achieve, what was that website called? Achieve the Core, because it's too much for me to try and do that and math groups. And if I had to pick, I'd choose like doing math groups instead, especially because my kids did pretty well last year. But I mean, I've only given it a couple of days, so I'm gonna try a little bit more. But I think that's the source of my frustration, just not being in like that clear rhythm. But I need to be patient with myself. So I gotta stop talking. I just want to check in from home just for a different change of scenery. But I do need to get dressed, head over to Orange Theory. You guys wish me luck. So yeah, I'll check in with you guys later.
Good morning, here's today's outfit. Today I'm wearing this top that was in a summer haul. This one is from TJ Maxx. I'm wearing the blue version of the pants that I ordered from Ann Taylor. I can't think of the style right now. I think they're called the Julie cut. I'm not sure. But these are the ones from Ann Taylor. I am wearing my denim sandals from DSW. And I am wearing a gold watch from Michael Kors. This ring that I'm wearing is from Nordstrom. And if you notice, if you look very closely, I'm wearing my new glasses. These are brown, the frames are brown, and that was really the only reason I got them. My prescription hasn't changed or anything, but I just wanted a pair of brown frames. So I'm wearing them today. They are by Coach, and I got them from Target. So I will talk to you guys later on.
Hey, it is later than what I would like to say it is. It is 6:20 or so. The only reason why I'm still here is because I had a teacher leader meeting after school that took us to about 4 o'clock, and then I came to my classroom. I have to get myself ready for tomorrow, so I said just suck it up, get what you need to get done, because I go to Orange Theory tomorrow, and I am at that point. So I'm going to be taking some things home. Here is my bag. I know I have not done a what's in my teacher bag yet, but I will eventually. There's not a whole lot going in there right now. I came back to my room. I had to listen to this iReady video because they've made some changes to the website. So we have a literacy coach here that wanted us to make changes, or we have a literacy coach that wanted us to listen to this video that kind of explains the changes and how kids are being scored on iReady now, because one of the big things that we're going to do school-wide is sit down and have goal setting conferences with students. So she just wanted us to be familiar with the tools there, how we can use it to set goals. I'm going to be starting that tomorrow during our Fox time, which is our universal access time, which is when we have an aide that comes in who will be assisting with guided reading in any way, shape, or form I decide to use her. More than likely, I will probably have her pull my higher groups that are above grade level, and I'll work with the kids that are below grade level or just hanging on at grade level. So I did that. I responded to a question I had to respond to in regards to that video on Google Classroom, checked my emails, updated my website, sent out some messages to parents, and handled some paperwork from the first day. And then I got my agenda on the board here. That's one of the things I have to get done for me to feel prepared. And then I wrote my homework, wrote my homework on the board there. That's the other thing I need to get prepared for me to feel like I'm on top of things when I get to school the next morning. And I set up my slides for morning work. Then I sucked it up, and not because I don't like them, but because it was, you know, late and I knew this would take a little time. I made another anchor chart that I traced from Amy Groesbeck. This one is for addition and subtraction with regrouping. I haven't colored it in yet. Like, that was my compromise, is that I would at least map it out, which I did. And then I'll color it tomorrow. The only reason I colored these little bits here is because I had to cross out on top of them because this is the subtraction section. But I almost panicked because I thought I was not going to be able to make this. This was not in the pack that I bought. This I found on Pinterest and pinned it to my board. And the problem was I wasn't able to just open the image in a PDF because that image is actually on Instagram, and I can't go to Instagram from my school because the site is blocked. And so I showed one of my first tracing poster that I did with Amy's product on, I think that was Monday, and I did an Insta story on it, and she responded to it, and I asked her if she was going to be making some more, and she said that she was. So I'm excited about that. So tomorrow I'm just going to come in and, oh, I didn't do the circle for the G. I'm going to draw that really quick. See this right here? I didn't put the circle in, or that right there. I think I can freehand that. So I'm going to come in tomorrow and color that. Tomorrow we are going to be doing lesson 1.7, which is addition with place value as the focus as far as the strategy is concerned. Today we use the break apart strategy. So I was hesitant to make this because this has addition and subtraction, but I think I'm just going to either fold it or cover it so that they don't see the subtraction part and just focus on the addition, or just tell them we're not even going to look at that part yet, but we will a little bit later. So it's about 6:30. Unfortunately, I'm about to pack up my belongings. I'm getting ready to go home. My goal tonight is kind of look through the stuff I might want to use to sit down and set goals with my class tomorrow, and walk Genesis, and go to Yogurtland, because the Yogurtland by my house has a special on Wednesdays for the month of August where you can get a 5-ounce cup and fill it with as much as you want and not pay for the weight, just pay a flat fee. So I'm gonna go partake in that. So that's what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'll check in when I get home. The other thing I wanted to show you is that I did get a tablet for my Spanish speaking student, a translating tablet that I think will help him just be a little bit more independent. So I'm gonna set him up with that tomorrow, which is good because one of the students that helps him sometimes with explaining things, him and that other student kind of had a moment today. I'm gonna set you guys down while I clean up. They kind of had a moment today where it was a grammar page and the student that speaks both Spanish and English was helping out my Spanish speaking student, and my Spanish speaking student came over to ask me for help. And so I was asking, well, what's going on? How come, you know, so-and-so isn't helping you? And the student that does the helping sits right near my desk. So he turned and told me, like, basically he won't let me help him, or he doesn't want me to help him. And they just both had this look on this face where I knew something wasn't quite right. So I kept asking them, is everything okay? Is everything okay? And they were both like, yeah, everything's fine, blah, blah. So later in the day, I asked the student that speaks both English and Spanish, like, are you sure nothing happened? Because he seemed really bothered. Like, he just looked like he was mad. So that student said, well, I was just telling him, I said, he said something to him like, bro, why are you always asking me for help? I know you know how to do this. Now, what his frustration was, because he was in class with the student last year, is his point was, I guess what the Spanish speaking student was asking for help with, he knew how to do it and just felt like he just wanted help just to get the help, but not because he needed the help. So I told the student, I said, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's the way that you said it that hurt his feelings. I said, to say it like, bro, why do you always need my help, was probably not the right way to say it. I said, perhaps if you had said like, hey, I know you can do this, I've seen you do it, like more of a motivating type tone, he would have reacted better. So I said, I'd like you to apologize to him for like talking to him like that. And he did, and they were fine. So I think him having now this tablet will help, because now he won't have to necessarily ask for help and worry about a student, you know, responding to him like that. I do help him as much as I can, but at that time I was like in the middle of something with another student, so I couldn't stop and go over things with him. And like the student said, he does speak a fair amount of English, and the only issue with this is that it would have required him to read English, if that makes sense, so that it was hard. So anyway, that is that. I just realized though that I did not make my copies for the number of the day tomorrow, so I need to do that in the morning when I get here. So far I really like these pages. I think they're a really good reinforcement for things that third graders really need to know. Tomorrow's page looks like this, and it looks like it's the focus of evens and odds and skip counting and number lines. So that is what we're going to be working on tomorrow, in addition to the ones we already did. So I'm going to set this in front of my face so that I know I need to make copies of this and get that in packet form. And I think that's it. That's all I really need to do. I need to get out of here. So let me get myself together. I'm gonna go home. We shall see what happens when I get home as far as me checking in. And yeah, I'll talk to you either later or tomorrow. So I just know I need to get the heck up out of here because it's almost 6:30. So I'll talk to you guys later. I'm in the parking lot right now. Just walked out of my classroom. It's just so depressing because I am officially the last person here aside from the cleaning people. And well, I know that's because I had to do some stuff. It's just, I'm like, I always wonder if I'm just doing something wrong. Like, why am I not able to get out as quick as everybody else? So here's the parking lot, all empty except for this sad little lonely car all by its lonesome. It's all right though. This won't happen every day.
Good morning, here's my outfit today. Today I am wearing a dress from Target that I got sometime last school year. I'm wearing this belt with it from Old Navy. I'm wearing these wedges that you guys have seen numerous times. I'm also wearing this Kendra Scott rose gold necklace, a rose gold watch, and a ring and bracelet from Goriana. So that is it. I'll talk to you guys later.
It's 5:01. I'm probably once again one of the last people here. My teammates Peggy and Jenny just left, but it's fine. We met briefly after school because last night, I feel like I said something about this. I think I said something yesterday that today we wanted to, when was that? Yesterday, I think I told you guys, we met with our literacy coach and she basically went over some new things with iReady and some changes that were being made. And one of the things that she, as well as our principal, would like to do is share the iReady results with our students and set goals for them. So I went home last night, and after I ate dinner, I sat down and looked at the iReady reports, the ones that are individualized to each student, because I was like, okay, what am I going to share with my students when I sit down and set these goals? And at first, I panicked because each student report is about 15 pages because it has a ton of information. So my thought was, well, how are my kids and I gonna sift through all this information to have them set a meaningful goal for themselves? And then I took a few moments, took a deep breath and calmed down. And so what I decided to do to kind of streamline the process, in case anyone else out there is using iReady and would like to do the same, is first I looked at the instructional groups. So iReady, once they take their diagnostic test, it will group them with other students that had performance similar to theirs. So I think there's a total of maybe 6 groups, and the groups have, the groups are made by the way the kids perform. They have a certain amount of things in common, if that makes any sense. So like the lowest group, or group 1, is kids that are struggling significantly with things like phonics, and they are just well below grade level standard. And then group 6, let me make sure. I want to make sure there's 6 groups and not 5, so that I'm not giving you incorrect information. Let's see. Diagnostic results. Okay, yeah, there's 5. So so what I decided to do was to just call each group back together to try and be a little bit more efficient. And initially all we did is they have something, we call it a Fox planner, but it's like their binder reminder where they're writing down their homework. And this year the principal added some goal setting pages because she knew that this was something she was going to want to do. So on the goal setting pages, they have places to track their progress with things like iReady and grades and things like that. So what I have my students do is I called them back as a group, starting with group 1, the group that struggled the most. And I told them, bring your Fox planners and a red crayon, a yellow crayon, and a green crayon, and a pencil. So the first thing I did is I showed them their report. I can't obviously show you what one looks like, but they each had their individual report that gives them a bar graph of their overall performance, where we would have liked them to be and where they are. And then it breaks down their categories and how they perform there. So the first thing I had them do, this is just a copy of the page in their Fox planner, is they circled where it says diagnostic 1, they circled that in the color that they were placed in based on their overall performance. And I explained, if your overall color is red, that means you had quite a few struggles. If it's yellow, that means there were some things that you did well, but then there were some things that you also struggled with. And green means you performed well, you performed the way that we would have liked for you to perform right now. So they circled their the diagnostic and the color their overall score was. Then I shared their score and they put it here. I'm gonna try and point right there. And then this says, this makes me feel. So I talked to them and said, how does that make you feel? Are you happy with it? Are you saddened by it? Are you disappointed? Are you frustrated? So they put their word, and we didn't really dwell too much on that because most of their words were words like disappointed. And I said, you know what, it's fine. Now we know what we need to work on so that when we take the second test, we're not quite in the same situation. But we didn't dwell too much on it. And then in their report, it breaks it down by subcategories of the test. So it breaks it down by phonological awareness, phonics, what is this one? High frequency words, vocabulary, comprehension of literature, and then comprehension of informational text. And so we went down the report and each kid looked at the color they were in that particular category, and they would trace or color this box in that. Now, what was nice with this group is because even though overall they performed under grade level, all of them at least had 1 or 2, if not more, green boxes. So they were able to say, okay, I had some struggles, but there were definitely some things I did know. So we did that, and then we talked about point growth. So again, I showed them where they were, where we would like them to be, and I let them set a point goal and just say, you know, you want to keep it realistic. You don't want to say like, I want to improve by 200 points in the next couple of months, because that's not realistic for anybody. So that made it better, just kind of honing it down by their groupings. And then the other thing that I did, because this was the other part that was overwhelming, is I was like, well, how are they going to pick what their goal is? So then again, I said, LaTanya, calm down. And I looked at the report that just shows each student in that particular group, and it'll show you where they struggled. So it'll show you where they were red, where they were yellow, where they were green. So for each student, and I went in and I picked their lowest performing category and told them, this will be the area that we try and set a goal for, since this is where you struggled the most. Now with this group, with them being the lowest performing group, all of them have phonics issues. But I did tell them everyone's phonics issues are a little bit different. Some of you are struggling more than others. And I felt pretty good about it. I felt like the kids were back there. They knew that they were getting some concrete information about their performance, but they weren't like totally sad or just totally defeated. That sounded really bad, because I think they saw, okay, there were still some things I didn't know how to do, and the conversation was really like, okay, let's set some goals. Now we have something to work towards. Now the person that asked us to do this, the literacy coach, said it might take us about 6 minutes per child. It's gonna, for me, it's gonna take me much longer than that, because I just tend to take longer to do things in terms of conversation. So I wanted them to understand what the different colors meant. I wanted them to have a minute to think about why we're setting goals and really think about what's a realistic goal. So we didn't even get to the point where they each honed in on the one goal that they're really going to be focusing on. So we'll have to do that next week. But what I did like when we met with our literacy coach is she gave us some information from iReady and just talked about different kinds of goals to set, so that they're not these vague goals that kids just say, but they don't really have any meaning behind it, like saying, I want to get better at reading. Well, what does that really mean? So we talked about 2 different types of goals. I think some are called process goals, which are applicable to a lot of different things, like different processes. And so this form that we got from iReady, if any of you use iReady and are interested in it, an example of a process goal would be saying something like, I will use flashcards to practice my sight words once a day. But you can make flashcards for a lot of different things, not just sight words. Or I will use scratch paper to show my work while completing math online lessons. Again, you can use scratch paper online, but also not online. So those were process goals. Then the other type of goal, I think, was called habit goals. So a habit goal would be something like, I will check my math work using a different strategy to ensure accurate computations, or I will find text evidence. So those are just getting in the habit of doing those particular things. And I think for my kids, we are probably gonna focus on more of the habit goals. So, or did I say that backwards? I did say that backwards. The first type I showed you was habits. The second one was processes. So I hope that made sense. I'm sorry, this was all new to me. So mine are gonna be more focused on like just more specific, because they're 8. So we met after school just to kind of go over what I did. I don't know how it's gonna go when we get into like the thick of setting goals, because I didn't get to that point, and that I think I'll have to do individually. But I mean, I think it's a good thing to do, but we'll see how that goes. So we met. As far as the day, I again didn't get to check in because it's just been really busy. In recess, I was trying to finish up this anchor chart that I needed to color. But for math today, I did make this chart. You guys saw it yesterday. I finished coloring it. I did only show the addition side because I didn't want anyone to get distracted. So that went well. For homework tonight, I did require them to draw out the models because I just really like to make sure kids understand what is happening with regrouping. And I find that forcing them to do that for at least a night or two helps them to really understand what's happening when they're carrying the one. I know I've said that in previous years, so I just keep doing it because I think it's very effective. And then we were going to take the Wonders Assessment Part 1 together, but all we really got to do was read one of the passages and practice with the comprehension skill, which was character, and looking for text evidence to show how the character is feeling, what clues do we have. And I was really proud of my kids because this passage is about a little girl, let me see if I can find it, who is nervous because she's trying out for a talent show. And so in the very beginning of the story, she's nervous because she's trying out for the talent show and she sings, but she's never sang in front of anyone before. And then by the end of the story, let me see if I can get you guys back. By the end of the story, she's feeling much better about things. So I asked them to read the story to themselves or with their group first while I was at the back table trying to give kids their AR goals. And then we came back together as a whole class. I read the story again and then specifically said, how was this girl feeling in the beginning? The correct answer was she was feeling either insecure or nervous. And then I said, okay, let's prove it. How do we know? So they pulled out quotes, things that she said. So one kid was able to realize, well, she asked herself, why am I doing this? That showed that she was nervous. But one of the moments I was like, oh, they're learning, because this was something that we said with one of our anchor charts earlier this week where we talked about paying attention to what characters do, say, how they act. This student saw this picture that they put in the passage. And so of course one of the students said, well, if I look at the picture, she looks nervous or scared, which is true, and that was great. But then one of the students said, I also know that she's nervous because there are these little squiggly lines by her elbows, and that means that she's shaking. And I was like, right, like you can find clues anywhere. Those little squiggles means that she's like up on the stage shaking, and so we know that she's nervous that way. So we did that, and then they were able to identify that by the end of the passage she was feeling much more confident because she actually sang. And then she says at the very end, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. So that was the bulk of the day. We did a little bit of writing. But it was just for fun, just like something I was supposed to do the first week of school, but I didn't get to it. And that's really it. The book that I read today, since I'm trying to share those, is I read this one, I Am Special, I Am Me. I did it because the writing activity that we did today was this. I'm pretty sure this is from Pinterest. Jenny gave it to me. I am all about my selfie. So I thought this was a nice tie-in with just recognizing the values of yourself. So this one is I'm Special, I'm Me. And so we read this, and we talked about character, like what kind of person was he at the beginning, how was he at the end. Kind of the same as the talent show. He was insecure in the beginning, but his mom kind of talks him through each day, and eventually he realizes that he should just be himself. And then we were able to talk about the theme of this book, which there were a few that kids picked that were legitimate. And then I always tell them, if I were to pick a theme, I tell them this at the end so that they're not like skewed one way or the other. I always tell them at the end what I would have picked. So for this one, I said I would have put this one next to Be Yourself, because at the end of the story, the boy realizes that I should just be myself and people will want to be around me when I do that because I'm just being myself. The other one kids picked was Believe in Yourself. And this one, don't let anyone ever dull your sparkle. And I believe these are by Amy Groesbeck if you're interested. And so for these kids, I said those are all true. And that's one of the points I wanted to make to my class, because there was one group arguing and trying to change another student's mind. I said, no, there's not one correct answer. As long as someone can say, this is what I believe the theme is, and they have something to back it up, you just have to respect that that's their opinion. So they agreed to put it there. So we did that. And what else? Math, we used base 10 blocks. I always think that's good. I think I mentioned that, but that was really it. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. about things. Math is still a struggle. I only have RSP support coming in for 30 minutes, and both the RSP aide and myself feel like that's not enough time for the kids that she's servicing. It really is just enough time for her to see my intro lesson and for her to do some guided practice with them, but she doesn't get a lot of opportunity to see if they can just do it on their own. And so she's talking to the RSP teacher to see if they can somehow alter her schedule so she can be here a little bit longer, and I think that would be great if she could. So that was my day. It's 5:15 right now. I'm going to get the room ready for tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, and just like last year, Fridays are really just me taking my kids from one place to the next. I'm gonna get the classroom ready for tomorrow, and then I'm gonna go home. I don't know if I'm gonna cook, but I need to figure something out because I got a Blue Apron shipment last week, but I forgot to unpack it and went to bed, and it sat out all night, and now I'm nervous about the meat. So I'm either gonna go get the meat to go with this meal I need to make, or I'm not really sure. So I will keep you guys posted. See you later.
All right, good morning. Here's my outfit. Today I'm trying something new. I'm trying for a casual chic look. I don't know if I'm pulling it off, but I am wearing another t-shirt from Teacher Tees. I will link the website in the description box. Please excuse Genesis. And there's also a promo code. This one says teach and be fabulous. So I thought, well, let me try and spruce this one up. So I put on this necklace that I got, I think from New York & Company a long time ago. And I am wearing just a silver fossil watch, some silver hoop earrings. So sorry, you guys. And these little slippers that I got from Nordstrom Rack over the summer. So it is Friday. I deserve a Starbucks, so that's where I'm going. And I'll talk to you guys later. Jenny, you ruined my outfit of the day.
So last night at about 8 o'clock, I suddenly had a panic attack. Now that's dramatic. I didn't have a panic attack, but I had like a moment where I went, and I realized I didn't write the word save on the board after I wrote my agenda. And when you don't write save on your board, all the little work that you do to put yourself ahead of the game in the morning is gone. That was all filled out yesterday, but I forgot to write save, so the cleaning people erased it. So I need to rewrite it. And the other thing I want to say, you guys seem to have picked up on the fact that Jenny and Peggy are great teammates. So Peggy's so nice. She comes in before me every morning, and she always turns my air on for me so that when I come in, it's not hot in the room. It's a small gesture, but it's just indicative of how nice of a person that she is. So I just wanted to check in and tell you that. Teacher tip number 101, make sure you write save on the board so that the cleaning people don't erase your agenda. So I'm gonna get that situated and then get myself ready for the day. Hey guys, it's 7:45. I'm obviously at home. Took my accessories off, pulled my hair back. I left school at about 6:15. I actually tried to vlog just before I left, but my camera died because I forgot to turn it off. I was there till 6:15. I was officially, again, the last person there, including almost leaving after the cleaning people, because the cleaning lady had to pop her little head into my room and ask me if I was leaving soon, because she was going to be leaving in 10 minutes, and she wanted to make sure I knew how to arm the school. But I let her know that I was leaving, and I didn't have to do that. I was there late, but I feel not too bad about it because I did get a solid chunk of the next Theme of Wonders planned for next week and the week following. Of course, it's probably not going to go exactly as planned. Things are probably going to take longer than I thought, but at least I have it in there. And as I was planning it, I think the best thing for me to do, for those of you that have been asking about Wonders, is to share in the next upcoming weeks what I'm doing with Wonders each day, because I typically last year followed the same pattern in terms of what I did to start off the theme, what I did the second day, and so on. It'll be a little bit different, and I'll probably have to do this a couple times throughout the year, because next week is when I would start just introducing the concept of pulling kids back for small groups. And so if I share with you guys what I did, there probably won't be a whole lot of me talking about when I send those small groups back, what are they doing? Because they're gonna probably just be practicing responding to their readers instead of going through full-blown rotations while I'm pulling additional groups, if that makes sense. But I think it'll make it more manageable for me to share, and maybe even for you guys to watch. I know some people have done plan with me videos, and I just can't envision myself doing that. I don't even know how I would want the camera set up. I don't think I have the talent to physically be planning and be talking about my thought process while I do it. So I thought this was the best compromise. So I don't feel too bad that I left after that point, because I have the rest of chapter 1 planned. Wonders is pretty much mapped out, and all that's left really is social studies, and that's pretty straightforward and pretty cut and dry. So I came home, walked Genesis, who is laying on the couch. I don't know, I'm gonna try and zoom in because she's being nice and quiet. Let's see. Whoop. I can get even closer, I think. Now that's as close as I can get, but there she is. That is her overall disposition after a walk, which is my favorite because she's relaxed. I know she's happy, so it's good. So let me zoom back. I came home, I took her for a walk, and then I was just now on the phone with my mom. She's having a reverse sneeze. And now I'm here because you know what time it is. It is time for me to share with you my question that I posted on TeachersConnect and some posts that I responded to. So this week, my question on TeachersConnect was whether or not you guys correct homework with your kids. Now, when I say correct, I mean actually correct their answers. So for me, for homework, I assign multiplication practice, cursive practice, and a math page that reviews the lesson of the day. I'm not really correcting the cursive or the multiplication practice because that really is just practice, but I will correct the page that goes with the math lesson. And so this year, one of my big goals, as I've said, is to implement math rotations, and I need to kind of buy some time throughout the day wherever I can. And I've seen a couple people say to do that, they've completely removed correcting math homework altogether with the class. Now, I don't know if that means they take it home and do it, or they just don't correct it at all. Neither one of those options are attractive to me. I obviously don't want to take more work home to correct. And I obviously don't want to not correct it. So the reason why I like correcting the math homework with my class is because while we're correcting it, I'm calling on kids to share their answers. And if it's wrong, we talk about like what they did, they look back at their work, and I can quickly identify the mistakes that they made. And a lot of times the mistake that they made is something that someone else may have made, or even I can have other kids explain the mistake. I just feel like it's good stuff to do it with the class. And the back of and the back of Go Math always has a section that's spiral review, so that allows me and forces me to just constantly provide spiral review with math, just in the conversations we have about those problems. So I was asking other people, what do you do? I had a whole lot of responses. Most of them, or some of them, said that they have students do it, which I think that's more in reference to just managing, knowing who did homework. One person did say that it's a good way to see what kids know and what they don't know, which I agree with. And so overall, I think the people that responded were kind of in agreement with me. So if you'd like to let me know what you do, or if you have any suggestions where I can buy time but still feel like I'm getting the chance to see how kids did on the homework the night before, please respond to my question. I would appreciate it. So that's what I posted. As far as the question, I will be sharing my vlog on TeachersConnect tomorrow, and a little summation or Sunday, and a kind of little synopsis of my week. But there were a couple of questions I obviously responded to as well, because I enjoy doing that. And one of them, I just had it and then I lost it, comes from an experienced teacher. Her name is Renee. And I like this one because I think it just touches on the aspect of teaching where you're not really discussing teaching a lesson, but just coping with some of the changes and the unpredictableness of teaching. So she says, I am going into my 20th year of teaching. The end of last year was very stressful with the administration making grade level changes and not knowing whether or not I was going to be moved to another grade level. I finally asked her whether or not I was one to be moved. I was told she had already spoken to those who would be moved, but someone would definitely be moved for my current grade level next year. I am struggling going into this year without thinking this is my last year in this grade level. I have invested so much time and money in this grade level and don't know if I will be able to do the same for another grade level. I can understand a change if I requested it for a specific reason, but no reason is given for a change except the desire to mix things up. How do I put this in the back of my mind and enjoy this new school year? And then in parentheses she put, I hate uncertainty. So my response, the gist of my response is I mean, I get it. That is frustrating. If you don't want to move, to just have that anxiety of, am I going to be moved? And if so, when? And if it's not happening now, I know it may be coming in the future. But I think my experience has been that sometimes the things that are the biggest changes somehow can be a blessing to you in disguise. Now, obviously at the time, it doesn't really feel like that because you're so focused on the changes that you're dealing with. But I will say in retrospect, anytime I've had a major change that I either chose to make or didn't choose to make, it ended up being for the better. Now, I don't know if it ended up being for the better because I found a way to cope with it even though I was frustrated and didn't allow myself to dwell on the change too much in a negative way, or if it was just organically something that made me a better teacher. So I said to her that she should try and just enjoy this year for what it is and be optimistic that if she does get forced to change, it may be an opportunity to grow in ways that she didn't expect to grow or didn't know that she really needed to grow. I would definitely, you know, very professionally let the principal know that you would like to stay in that grade level if possible, but be open to the idea that you may need to be moved. And I do get the feeling that sometimes movement and changes need to be made for the better of the kids or the better of the dynamics of a team or the betterment of the school. And so I think sometimes as teachers we get so focused on what we've mastered and what we're good at and what's comfortable for us that we're not thinking about maybe the big picture and how maybe you would be a huge service to another grade level or to another group of students or to the school in general. And that I think we just have to be flexible. I obviously have favorite grades to teach. Like I love teaching 5th grade. I really wanted to teach 5th grade when I came to this new school. And when it wasn't offered to me, I was like kind of shook about it and shook about it for a while. But I did tell myself, like, let's just get it done. You've taught 5th grade for a long time. It's time to take on a new challenge and then see what you can do. And if I had to pick, I mean, and I could have picked, I could have gone back to 5th grade this year because we ended up needing another spot, but I just like the idea that maybe now I'm expanding myself in a way that I wouldn't have had I stayed in 5th grade. And the same can be said with me moving schools. I know that I've expressed how deeply I miss the school that I worked at and my friends there and the relationships I had there and the families there, and I still miss it every day. And I still miss working with Liza every day and my team. Even though I have a great team now, I just miss that we had a different dynamic than the one that I have now. I miss that every day and I think about it every day. But so many positives came out of me making the changes that I did. Like I've met new people, I've interacted with new families, I've had different opportunities come that I don't know would have come had I not made that move. So just, you know, if you're facing a change out there that you really didn't plan for, or you really didn't expect, or you really don't want, just try and tell yourself that just because it's not something that you planned for or that you think you want doesn't mean that nothing positive is going to come out of it. So I responded to that one. And then my friend Jennifer from Glitter and Jams asked also a question about self-care and the things that we were doing during the school year. And I know I mentioned this last week, but I'm just going to mention it again so that we don't get lost in the shuffle of the beginning of the year. She specifically asked, what are the things that you were going to do this year to, you know, try and make sure you take care of herself. So she said, hello fellow teachers, as many of us are preparing to go back to school or are back at school, what are some things you do or are planning to do this year to take care of yourself to avoid burnout and illness? I have been very bad at taking care of myself the last few years and want to be healthier and happier this year. So I just briefly gave some things that I'm gonna try. I want to continue to exercise 5 times a week because you know what guys, I don't love working out, but that's something that I think that well, it's something that I do to preserve my health and to try and just stay healthy and for stress management. I want to try and fit in reading before I go to bed because that fell by the wayside. I've signed up for Massage Envy, so I'll be getting monthly massages. I have one this Sunday that I'm super excited about. And I really want to try and minimize the amount of work that I bring home over the weekend, which is why I stayed late at work today. My goal is to get back to the year where I just stayed late on Fridays, got stuff done, and then did not bring my work back home. That was the best thing I ever did, and I'm going to try and re-implement that this year. And recently, I've been turning off my phone anytime I feel overwhelmed. So I've just put it on silent so that I don't hear text messages, social media alerts, like just so that I can have like a quiet mind. So those are my goals. Why don't you guys should go on there and share with Jennifer your goals. And then I feel like there was another one. Here's the other one. I just thought this one was interesting because I was in the minority with this answer. So my impression is this person is like a recent college graduate and has landed a teaching position, but wants to get her master's degree and is not sure if she should just go straight away and do it or if she should take a break off. So, ooh, this is a good one. I'm gonna answer this question after, I mean, maybe I'll just read it and then I'll answer it right now. Let's see, I'll just answer it on the spot. Let's see if I can do that. And then I'll get back to the other one. I just got distracted. This one says, this is from Martha, and it says, communicating with parents, setting the boundaries. Hello everyone, I'm a first-year teacher and I'm wondering how you set boundaries when communicating with parents. Specifically, do you set a time for yourself when you do not respond to school emails and phone calls, say after 5 p.m. during a week or on the weekends? Is it reasonable? How do you word it and explain it to parents? Thank you for your tips and much advice. So, I go both ways. Like the last few years, especially with Remind, it just really depended on how busy I was in the evening and my mood. On the one hand, I felt like responding right away made the following day less stressful for me because that was less messages that I had piled up that I needed to respond to and less time I was spending the next day responding to messages. If it was something quick and easy, like just a quick question that they wanted a quick answer to, typically I would respond to it, and I would even tell them that at back to school night. Like if you send me a message through Remind and I'm awake and I'm well enough to answer it, I'll probably answer you. But if it's more lengthy, more involved, requires like a very precise answer, I need to choose my words wisely, then I would just respond to it the next day. As far as how you communicate that with parents, you can very professionally just say, you know, I do have email or this or that. I always let them know what my preferred method of communication is. For me, it's Remind, which I don't have right now. Or something like that. I'm not a huge fan of emails because it's hard for me to get to it's just for some reason it's harder for me to get to my emails than it is for me to get to messages through something like Remind. I let them know my preferred method of communication, and if there's boundaries, I don't think I've ever said, I do not message me after this time. If they message me after a time that I find to be unreasonable, I just don't respond until a time that is reasonable, and I think that in and of itself lets them know like, oh, okay, her cutoff time must be around this. But if you want to let them know, you can just honestly say, you know, as you know, I'm a teacher, but I do also have, you know, a family, friends, a life outside of school, and just out of respect for my family, friends, or just for my own physical and mental well-being, if you message me after this certain time, I will respond to you the next day. Or you can even say, without giving them a specific time, you can even say, I will respond to all messages within 24 hours. That way you're not tying yourself to a specific time, but you've given a reasonable amount of time for you to have responded. You definitely don't want to wait more than 24 hours to respond to a parent anyway. So, Martha, I hope that helps you. And then I've been talking already for 16 minutes. The one that I wanted to find, I just want to give this person credit. So I'm trying to find the post. All right, here it is. This one's from someone named Samara or Samara. I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. It says, hi all, I need a little input. I am currently working on my master's. I have one class scheduled in the fall, but am debating whether I should put it on hold. I am required to take a one-year program through the district for new teachers. I am facing a whole new building with new coworkers and my first classroom, etc. If I keep taking my master's classes, as I mentioned, I can do my practicum next fall in 2019 and have my master's by Christmas. However, not taking it will put me a little behind, but I can really focus on all the new stuff and requirements. My district gives me 5 years to obtain my master's, of which one is almost used up. I'm going from TA to teacher within district. I think that's teacher on assignment. I don't know. TA to teacher within district, and the clock began as soon as I passed all my state tests in November. I think I know the answer, but want to know what you veteran teachers think. Should I suck it up and continue my master's or focus? I have to ask, but I think the district course transfers to my master's. Most people told her just kind of focus on your first year, which I totally get. I said, just from what I know of friends that I've had, I said, if you think you can just suck it up and just tough it out for the next year, whatever the case may be, just do that. Like, just get it knocked out of the way, because once you get into teaching and life happens, it's so much harder to just discipline yourself to go back to school. Like, it's so much harder. And then I said, my first year teaching, I taught with one other person who was also in school, because we were in school together. There was no one else on our team. We went to evening classes on like Tuesdays and Thursdays or something, went to class all day on Saturday, and still had all the full responsibilities of running our own classrooms. I don't know how I did it, but I did it, and I don't think I had like nervous breakdowns. I may have cried maybe once or twice, but I think mentally I just told myself, I just gotta get this done. So I said, if you think you can just suck it up and do it, I would just say do it, get it done. But at the end of the day, I told her, no one knows you better than you. And the other reason is I'm just a firm believer with the way teachers are paid and long-term planning, that you wanna make as much money as you can, as quick as you can. And a lot of times posting your master's gives you a pay increase. So I don't know. I was the only one that said that the last time I checked, so maybe I have a problem, which some of you may have already picked up on. I like to overwhelm myself, so take what I have to say with a grain of salt. But anyway, it has been 20 minutes. I have been rambling. I need to figure out what's happening for dinner. All in all, this week was a little bit more routine than last week. We are still not where we need to be. I've been telling people it is exhausting teaching my students the laws of the land of Robinson, but we are getting there. Hopefully next week will feel even more structured. I need to remind myself that it's the beginning of the year and not just be so hard on myself with routines and procedures being in place in my classroom as well as at home, because things feel a little unstructured here. But all in all, it's been great. So some of you have been asking. My plan is to keep up these vlogs for the entire school year. I think I can do it. If I have one missing here or there, don't fret. I don't think that's gonna happen, but just in case I get super busy. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the best subscribers. Always so supportive, always so complimentary. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're just watching but you've not subscribed, please subscribe. I upload on Sundays at 8 a.m. has been what I've been typically doing. And yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next vlog. So I will see you guys then. Bye guys.